Come and see, friends. It is written, Vehamaskilim yezoharu kezohar harakia umitzdike harabim kakokovim leolam ved. And the wise will shine like the Zohar of the firmament, and those who teach righteousness to the multitudes will shine like the stars forever and ever. With great awe and trembling, before the Master of the universe, may his great name be blessed forever and ever. I stand humbly as a son to Kutchabrihu and Ishkinta, to share a wondrous kindness he has done in our days. By the mercy of the Holy One, blessed be he, the entire Zohar, revealed through Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai, may his merit shield us, has now for the first time been translated completely into English. Now, this is not like other translations that we've seen before that have been put together by men who were not in the tradition of the Zohar. Men who have said things such as Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai didn't write the Zohar, and other such erroneous claims. But today I come to reveal to you the mystery of Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai and the Holy Zohar. Now you may ask, why English? Why bother translating this holy sefer into English? Because we are in exile. And it is known that through the study of the Zohar, we will come out of exile through mercy. It is known that wherever the most holy sparks of Israel are resided, there the world power will be. We know this by Egypt and by all the other empires of the world who have risen to power to be the greatest empire of the world only because they had the greatest number of Jewish souls in them. And so why bother translating into English? Because there is the most Jewish souls inside of the English world, and you will be able to bring about the hastening of the redemption through the study of the Zohar. Now, before we get into how we've translated the Zohar and why we've taken certain translations and how we presented it, I want to take a look at one of my favorite editions of the Zohar. I relied heavily on this copy of the Zohar for a long time in Aramaic, and I believe this is an edition of the Zohar everyone should have. It's very affordable, and you can find it at many Jewish bookstores all over the world. One thing that's special about this edition is that it has the entire Zohar HaGadol, the Tikkunei HaZohar, and the Zohar Chadash all in one volume. And what I really love about this one is that it includes variant manuscript readings inside the reading, which we will get into and you'll see many times. I want you guys to read the front here. And this is going to reveal to us a deep secret in the secret of Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai and the Zohar. Over here it is written, Ikveta de Mashiach, meaning the heels of Mashiach, the footsteps of Mashiach. Because surely I tell you, friends, it is a fitting time to reveal this mystery to you all. At first, we're going to enter into some of the Aramaic of the Holy Zohar, so that we may see the secrets of what our sages were telling us over the generations. In truth, this passage of the Zohar is one of the founding pillars of Lurianic Kabbalah. The entire books have been written about this section of the Zohar. This is in Parashat Bereshit, Daf 15a. And inside of it is some of the deepest language of all of creation, which we will get into in the future if Hashem wills it. And it's written over here, Berish, meaning in the head or at the head. Nusach Acher, meaning some say, or in a variant manuscript it also says Bereshit bechokhmata del Malka Glif, meaning in the beginning, in the wisdom of the king he engraved. Hormenuta del Malka Glif Glifi, by decree of the king he engraved engravings. We have another variant reading here. It says Glifu. Betehiru ila'a botsina de carne nuta, meaning he engraved engravings in the supernal Tehiru, in the botsina de carne nuta, meaning this word right here has been translated as the hard spark in English, which it's a fitting translation. And over here, this has been translated in many ways as well before, but it should be left Tehiru, because in many of the secret writings of our sages, they are commenting on the Tehiru and the engravings of the king. And this passage right here is speaking about the primordial worlds at the beginning of creation of the universe. Now, let us compare another edition of the Zohar. This is also a very dear to my heart edition of the Zohar that I have studied extensively, and really until now was the best English translation of the Zohar we had available, because it also included Aramaic with it. But whatever manuscript they were working with was not a complete manuscript of the Zohar, and there was some information missing that wasn't according to many different manuscripts of the Zohar we have today, such as the Mantua. We have facsimiles of the Mantua Zohar that it doesn't line up with, and even the other printed editions of the Zohar, as we just read, don't line up with the Aramaic in it, as we're going to see here. So we just read right here. And another thing that this edition will make note of now is it didn't retain the DOF pagation system, meaning it doesn't say DOF 15a when the sages are quoting the Zohar and they tell you to look at the DOF 15a of Parashat Bereshit in the Zohar. If you don't know your Kabbalah Center Zohar very well, you're not going to be able to find it, because there is no DOF pagation system in this English edition, or in the Pritzker edition either. There is no DOF pagation system. So if you're studying these English translations, you're going to be on a completely different system than the friends in the Beit Midrash. So as we see here, it says, again, now this is very important. We're going to come back to this here in a minute, but it says, Barish, Hormenuta del Malka Glifi, Betehiru ila'a botsina de carnenuta. Okay, so it has some of what we read before. What it doesn't have Bereshit bechokhmata de Malka Glif. In the beginning, in the wisdom of the king, he engraved. Who engraved? Well, that's what we're going to get to. Hormenuta del Malka Glif Glifi, or Glifu, Petihiru ila'a botsina de carnenuta. Okay, so we see some variations in the text here, and this is because this passage has been heavily censored by the translators because of the implications of it. This explains some of the deepest secrets of Mashiach in the entire Zohar. This is the beginning of the explanation of the primordial divine Mashiach. Okay? And this passage in English has been heavily censored, because many of the Erev Rav take their authority from Esav. They don't get their authority from the sages, they get it from Esav. They get it from the church. And so therefore, they were afraid to translate and to properly bring down this passage, and so therefore we see these variant readings, and we see censorship because of the implications that we are going to find in this passage. Let us read some of the English of the Rav Berg edition, and then we're going to read the English of the Pritzker edition just to see where the Western world has been at until now in the understanding of this passage. It says in the English, "With the beginning of the manifestation of the king's will," now this capitalization, this is commentary, obviously, that is, "when the king desired to emanate and create the world, a hard spark made an engraving upon the supernal light." Okay. This hard spark, which emanated from the most concealed of all concealed things, from the secret of the endless light, took a shapeless form. The spark was then inserted into the center of a circle that was neither white, nor black, nor red, nor green, nor any color at all. When it began its measurements, it created colors that shone into the empty space, and the engraving from within the spark, this hard spark, a fountain sprouted, from which the shades down below received their colors. Okay, now let's do the Pritzker edition. And now it reads a lot differently. It says, "At the head of the potency of the king, he engraved engravings in luster on high. A spark of an impenetrable darkness flashed within the concealed of the concealed. From the head of infinity, a cluster, a vapor, forming in formlessness, thrust in a ring, not white, not black, nor not red, not green, no color at all. As a cord surveyed, it yielded radiant colors." So, that's where we're going to stop right here. But as you can tell, the language is very different than the language in the Rav Berg edition. For instance, it says, "as a cord surveyed." The other one says, "as it began its measurements." And it uses terms like infinity, and it uses terms like luster on high, a spark of impenetrable darkness. And I will say that Rav Berg had a good translation, and he used the hard spark. But if you have studied Rav Moshe David Vali, if you've studied Ramchal, if you've studied Rav Naftali from Emech HaMelech, if you've studied any of the Arizal, any of the works of the sages, that kind of language removes you from their water, from the secret of what this passage is trying to say. For instance, it uses the term "when it began its measurements," or "as a cord surveyed." And what the usage is there is, it's right here. It says chad, And it says Nusach Acher Chader, meaning then Madid Meshicha Avid. So it says right here, Madid Meshicha, and this is what the English translators decided to translate as measuring cord, or when it began its measurements. And clearly, if you remember the front of the cover of the book of this sefer, which I'll just show you, it says Ikvata de Meshicha, meaning the heels of Mashiach. But yet, the translators translated Madid Meshicha as a cord surveyed, which is not the case, because this passage is speaking about the primordial Mashiach, when he began to form colors in the beginning of the universe, in the beginning of the worlds, because he is the secret of Adam Kadmon, or Adam Kadma'a. And this passage is speaking about Adam Kadma'a. It's speaking about the secret of Mashiach, the primordial Mashiach. And it's using language like at the head, or in the head, because it's speaking about when Israel arose in thought, meaning when Israel arose in the head of Adam Kadmon, when the secret of this anthropomorphic language is always in the secret of Adam Kadmon and in the secret of the primordial Mashiach. And we can see here that the Zohar Mamish says, Madid Meshicha, when the Mashiach began to measure, he created colors to shine. And with that, with great awe and humility, I present to the world the first unabridged, complete English translation of the Holy Zohar, revealed by the divine Tana, Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai, Zuchutu Yagan Elenu. May his merit shield us. For the first time in any English translation, we have been able to retain the DAF pagination system, which allows us to enter into the same system that anyone who is studying at a yeshiva or a Beit Midrash will be able to quote from the same page. If you're reading the writings of the sages and the sages tell you, go to DAF 15a, go read over there what it says, what is brought down for us in the Holy Zohar. Prior to this, it was extremely hard to do so because the English translators decided not to retain the DAF pagination system. What the DAFs are basically, in the original manuscripts, there was pages, there was front and back, and what the DAFs are those original pages, so the way we can refer to the original manuscripts. We have gone through great labor in order to retain the beautiful pages of the Mantuna and the Cremona in these holy Zohars, and in keeping with every Parashat to have a beautiful heading. And here we are, Parashat Bereshit, Daf 15a, translated for the first time according to the tradition of the sages. And it's written over there, Barish, at the head. Some say, in the beginning, in the wisdom of the king he engraved, Bereshit behokmata del malka glifi. By decree of the king, Hormenuta de Malka, he engraved engravings, glifi. Some say he engraved them, glifu. In the supernal Tehiru, Betehiru Ila'a, in the hard spark, Botsina de Cardnenuta. And from there they entered into the concealed of all concealments, from the head. Some say from the secret of Ein Sof. Now, by the great merit of Rabbeinu Yehuda Ha'ari, he was able to point this out, that in the Kabbalah Center, Zohar from Rav Berg, they have decided to leave Merisha out of the Aramaic. For in the original Mantua that was first printed, it said Merisha. But other manuscripts said from the secret of Ein Sof. Now, this matters because you must ask yourself, what does it mean from the head of Ein Sof? From the secret of Ein Sof. You must ask yourself, what does it mean at the head? What does this mean? This is anthropomorphic language of Ein Sof. How can Ein Sof have a head? And so it's written over there. From the head of Ein Sof, a vapor, meaning smoke, in a formless math, he struck into a ring. Not white, and not black, and not red, and not green, and not any color at all. When, some say, then the Messiah measured, he made colors to shine within the hard spark, within the inner depths of the hard spark. There went forth, some say, and there went forth one fountain, from which colors were imprinted below, and a concealment within concealments of the secret of Ein Sof. It split and did not split. Its air was not known at all, until from the pressure of its cleaving there shone forth one supernal point. Wow. Wow, my friends. As I was saying, this is commented on heavily by our holy sages, the Arizal, Ramchal, Ravali, and he revealed to us here that this passage is speaking to us about the primordial worlds, the secret of Adam Kadmon, and the secret of the primordial Mashiach, whom the holy divine Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai was a Gilgul of, just as any of our Mashiachim who have entered into the secret of the center pillar, of the shining mirror, which means to reflect the light of the Ein Sof from the very, very head all the way down to the feet. Now, I want to remind you here that we read the beginning. It says here, from the heels of Mashiach, from the heels of Mashiach, from the feet of Mashiach, all the way to the head of Mashiach. What's the head of Mashiach? The head of Mashiach is the head of the Ein Sof. Now, people who are not learned in the secrets of Mashiach, they're perplexed by this passage, and therefore we've seen others who've come to this passage and translated it erroneously as a chord began to survey, or when the measurements began, completely leaving out the Mashiach from this passage. And our sages have already commented on this. Everything I'm telling you here before was already revealed by our sages. You can go look. I've published the works. Ramchal, Ravali, Sefer Emech HaMelech from Rabbeinu Naftali. This is spoken about even in Tikkunei HaZohar, which has been recently published as well. That this passage is in the secret of Mashiach. And holy Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai was a Gilgul of Mashiach, Melech Mashiach, as the Zohar tells us many times. So with this gives us a glimpse into the Holy Zohar and some of the language of our sages and where they got it from. They didn't make up these languages like the Tehiru and the Reshimu, and they didn't just create Lurian and Kabbalah whole cloth out of thin air. In truth, the Holy Zohar revealed these things. The Holy Zohar revealed the divine Mashiach, the Mashiach from the primordial beginning of the creation of the world, who began to measure and to create colors that shine forth into the lower worlds. And with that, we will end the video. I've created a website that you can reach out to me directly through email. I've also created a link for a complete set of Zohar, a 12-volume set that you can purchase, or you can follow the link to the Amazon store and you can purchase them individually. I also want to say that if you've reached out to me and I haven't reached back, know that I am very, very busy. I'm toiling day and night in Torah, and I don't have extra time to speak to others. But if you reach out, I will do my best to reply back. With that, I want to remind you all that every Jew should live as if the entire world depended upon him, because it does. The entire world depends on each of us to study and to reveal the secret and the aspect of the Torah that we've been given. And unless we do that, we stay in exile, and it remains tohu vabohu. So if you have a secret of Torah, if you have a section of Torah that you need to fulfill and do it, for the world depends upon you. May we hasten the redemption. And next year, we will be in Jerusalem. Shalom.